Here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, so I'm going to take a personality test. Never really done this before, but I saw somebody else do it. I thought it was interesting, and the way it turns out, by the way, is you answer some questions here. This is 16personalities.com, and eventually you'll figure out if you're an analyst or a diplomat or a sentinel or an explorer. So 4 different categories and 4 different variants of each of those. I'm curious about myself because I'm not sure I have the proper read on myself. I think I know. I guess I'm seeking confirmation. But I also assume that most people who just watch me on television or, watch the YouTube channel or follow me on social media, maybe they've got a misconception. So I'm going to try and clear all of that up here and figure out which one of these might actually be me. And along the way, maybe there are some questions that are thought-provoking. So here we go. You enjoy vibrant social events with lots of people. Strongly agree or disagree? Generally, I agree. I probably like smaller groups better if I had the preference. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas. Gonna be honest, don't waste my time with a lot of things that I don't think are real. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary. I'm going to disagree with that. I do like to leave some flexibility, not a lot of flexibility. I like to have the groundwork of a travel itinerary before I actually get going. You often think about what you should have said in a conversation long after it has taken place. I'm gonna strongly agree with that one. I second guess myself a lot for better and sometimes for worse, to be honest with you. If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not try and solve their problem. I'm gonna have to disagree, and that's not a good quality. Let me just go back to that. I try and solve their problem first, as well as support them. I think sometimes what's actually needed as a priority is that support. So I'm not saying that's great, but that's not exactly how I do it. People can rarely upset you. I'm human. I do face criticism. I do face feedback on a regular basis. And obviously we all have our own personal relationships. Things aren't always 100%. So people can rarely upset you. I'm going to disagree with that. I think it happens once in a while. Man, only 10% in. I better hustle here. You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going. I'll disagree with that. In fact, I'll strongly disagree with that. I like to start it occasionally, and I'll keep it going if I think it's a worthy situation. If you have to temporarily put your plans on hold, you make sure it's your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible. Definitely agree. You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met. Strongly disagree. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend all by yourself without feeling bored. No offense to anybody, but strongly disagree with that one. And that's just the stage of life, right? Being a dad, being a busy person, like a slow weekend to me sounds great. And I would probably get sick of that in time, but just as of right now, that's probably the way I'd go. You're more of a detail-oriented than a big picture person. I'm going to go right in the middle on that one. I think details are everything, but I also think the bigger picture is ultimately the bigger picture, if that makes sense. So there you go. You're very affectionate with people you care about. Whoa, getting personal here. Should I choose that bigger dot or the smaller one? Probably somewhere in between. I'll say right there. Agree generally, I just don't know where. You have a careful and methodical approach to life. Definitely agree with that. You're still bothered by the mistakes you made a long time ago. Yeah, like I said, I second guess conversations. I second guess things I do all the time. At parties and similar events, you can mostly be found farther away from the action. Probably, slightly agree with that. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them. Again, it's a brain versus heart thing, and I'm probably going to agree with that, not completely. I sympathize, I empathize with the brain more than the heart, and that's not a great quality. I'm admitting it. I'm not hiding it, but that's honesty for you. When looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog. Ask my wife. Agree. You can stay calm under a lot of pressure. Generally, just because of life circumstances, things I do for a career, television, deadlines, the live element. I'm also a pilot. I don't know how many people know that, and a flight instructor, and there are pressures there. So I'm going to pretty much agree with that. When in a group of people you do not know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. Well, I'm not going to say that's always the goal to do that, but I'm not necessarily afraid of it, so I'll agree with that. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical. Fantastical, good word. They're bizarre, but fantastical. I'm going to go in the middle on that one. In your opinion, it is sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life. I mean, I don't want to do it on purpose. That's a hard one. I feel like to get ahead, you should be the best version of yourself, aside from everybody else. And I don't think that, stepping on somebody else, what does that mean? To me, is that hindering somebody? Is that doing something intentionally to set them back? I don't like that. But at the same respect, do you mean like just pass them or step on them? It's probably step on them. I guess I'll disagree with that, only to a slight amount. I'm not sure. That one needs a little bit more clarity for me. You're dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked. Have to agree on that. If you make a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge. Would disagree with that. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go back to strongly disagree with that. When at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones that you know. I would disagree with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like my friends and I'll mostly talk to them, but it wouldn't hide me and hold me back from meeting somebody new. You usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical. Maybe, but not fully. I may tune out a little bit, but I'm not gonna stop it right there. You would never let yourself cry in front of others. Now, I'm going to say mostly true on that, actually, but I have cried on live television before. So I'm going to go right in the middle on that. To be perfectly honest, I probably don't show all the emotions that I could and should, but I have before. So you feel more drawn to places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than to more quiet and intimate ones. I love both. I mean, I love going camping. And I also love being in New York City. So what does that tell you? More drawn to places? Maybe to a certain extent. I guess I'll slightly agree with that. You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future? Yeah, definitely do. Definitely. When it comes to making life-changing choices, you mostly listen to your heart rather than your head. Here we go, right? Like I said before, pretty much disagree with that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. That's just me. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something you cannot see, touch, or experience. You cannot imagine yourself. Yeah, I guess so. And I'm not sure what that means, but I'm not knocking it, and it's just not me, to be perfectly honest. All right, you usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive. This is so... By revenge, do you just mean like you take a loss somehow and you get a win? Is that... I guess I'm not saying anything, physical or illegal or, what are we talking about by revenge? Is it to play with a chip on your shoulder? If that's the case, then definitely yes. You often make decisions on a whim. I can, off the cuff, I definitely can, but generally no, and often no. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting and satisfying than with the time you spend with other people. Not interesting. Maybe more productive sometimes, but I'll disagree with that. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or movie. I actually don't do that. My wife does a great job of that for me, and I'm always interested to find out the real story, if you will. You always know exactly what you want. Pretty often. You rarely think back on the choices you made and wonder what you could have done differently. Disagree. Like I said, I second guess so many things. When in a public place, you usually stick to quieter and less crowded areas. Well, especially now, yes. I would say maybe slightly. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities. I think the big picture, again, is super important, but I also think in the moment is where you have to be. So I'll say slightly agree. Whoops. It's like the keyboard turned off there. All right. Next one here. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. In the middle? Understand? Are you saying interpret them? Or are you saying read them? What are you saying here? Understanding other people's feelings. I'm going to go right in the middle. We'll see what this turns out to be. When starting to work on a project, you prefer to make as many decisions up front as possible. Yeah, you want to lay things out. I would say slightly agree. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you also wonder how long it'll be until they become disappointed in you. Wow. Okay. That's can I be honest here? The honest camp, that's pretty brutal right there. All right. Disagree with that one. That's paranoia. I mean, maybe some people feel that way. I don't. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. For the most part, definitely. 70% through here. All right. You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios. Yes, I do that. Again, ask my wife for proof. You look for yourself first. Ooh, and others come in second. Ooh, brutal. But by others, do you mean like your child? Who, or people you really love and care about? What is that exactly? What is that referring to? Sorry, I had to fix the hair there. I just looked out after myself, didn't I? No, you can't. Maybe I used to be more that way. At the present state, I don't think you can be. Even when you have a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment. Not necessarily. I think you got to stick to you try and make the best script. You try and stick to it. You can divert from it if you need to. But I don't think just freewheeling it's the best way. Your mood can change very quickly. I try not to make it happen that way. I think it does, though. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. Not often. Put that right in the middle. But it does happen. I wouldn't say often. That's the catch here on a lot of these questions, is I'm interpreting every word. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions. Probably don't. Disagree. All right, 80% in. You've got a detailed education or career development plan stretching several years into the future. Detailed? No. Do I have plans? Yeah. Are they detailed? Not necessarily. I'm going right in the middle. You rarely dwell on your regrets. Disagree. Spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained and in need of a getaway. Sometimes, but I don't think that's uncommon. I think that's very common, actually. You see yourself as more of a realist than a visionary. Probably agree. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have. Does anybody find that easy? I'm not sure. I'll go right in the middle there. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than to organized or consistent efforts. Disagree. Organized and consistent. I love those words. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Slightly disagree, but they definitely play a factor. After a long and exhausting week, a fun party is just what you need. Absolutely. Love blowing off some steam, having an adult beverage. You quickly find yourself wondering how technological advancement could change everyday life. I consider that all the time. You always consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something. Yes, I think about a lot of things, especially work-wise and in a public sense. You still honor the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart. Again, what are we talking about here? Like detailed something? Is it serious? Probably a little bit. I like to be loyal. You rarely feel insecure. Probably agree with that. My gender, male. All right, time for results. Are you ready to see? Are you ready to see? I'm ready to see. All right, just a moment. Your personality type is executive. Okay, so I've never seen the results breakdown here, but mind, energy, nature, tactics, identity. Start reading. No thanks. You don't have to email it to me. Oh, wow. Look at that. So executive personality, there's a lot of text here. And I'm not gonna go through all of this. Wow, look at introduction, strengths and weaknesses. Wow, romance, friendships, parenthood. I definitely better read that one. But let me just go back to my results here. Oh, type turbulent executive. So here it is in the Sentinel category, the executive, who are excellent administrators, unsurpassed at managing things or people. Look, I don't necessarily like to group people in bunches by taking a, 60 or 70 question test. Maybe I only answered 40. I don't even know. But I think that generally does a pretty good job describing me. I also see some of the other types in this category, which I also agree that I'm close with. So I think that's pretty accurate, as opposed to diplomats, which I know some people like that, or analysts. I definitely know people who think in these different ways and have the different approach to life and tactics and everything else, and also explorers. Maybe that's more of a freewheeling type. And you can see a lot of creative people in those realms right there. So there you go, the 4 different types. I'm in the Sentinel category. I am an executive. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit more reading in this. You can look it up for yourself. Try this for yourself at 16personalities.com. But there you go. Apparently, I have learned that I am a turbulent executive. ESTJ-T, a Sentinel. All right, so find out what you are. Tell me, did you like this? Did you not like this? Did you stick through the whole thing? Let me know in the comments section below. I'll talk to you next time.